Well, hello again, everybody. This is Postcard Dan, and today I'm in Orlando. So I'm headed southbound on Florida's Turnpike, and my objective is that I would like to go west on the 528 Expressway. Now, going from south to west, that's essentially a right turn maneuver. But since I'm about to go through one of the most convoluted interchanges in the whole country, watch how many turns and twists it take to make a simple right turn. So as I start to approach the interchange, I see the first signage providing any information at all about State Route 528. And it's a little bit unnerving because the sign is only indicating what I want to do if I want to go east. Now, I'll grant you that the airport is to the east and the cruise port is to the east and Cocoa Beach is to the east. So there's a lot of people who want to go east, but there's nothing on here about westbound 528 at all, only telling me which ramp to use to get to eastbound 528. It says to use exit 254. Now, over the next mile or so, there's no more signage at all along the turnpike talking about how to get to State Route 528. But it sure would be helpful if there were some, because over the next mile or so, there's a couple of advanced exit signs talking about an exit called Consulate Drive. And I discovered, much too late, that by using Consulate Drive, I could have found a shortcut to get to 528 West that would have saved several minutes and a lot of twisting and turning through the convoluted intersection. But unfortunately, there are no signs along the highway here to tell you that, so you're left to assume that that exit is for nothing more than Consulate Drive, and take your chances with exit 254, which was the one that was advertised to be how to get to State Route 528. So here we are passing the exit ramp for Consulate Drive, and only at this point, out of the corner of my eyes, do I catch a glimpse of this sign indicating a ramp to get on to 528 headed westbound. Now, it's too late to jump off the turnpike at this point and get over there. I just see it out of the corner of my eyes. But keep an eye on this intersection because we'll be back to it in a few minutes. Okay, now at this point we are passing under State Route 528, and you can see the sign right there on the bridge that says that, SR-528. And again, we'll be back under this bridge in a couple more minutes. And now the highway is rising up to pass over a city street on an overpass. And even though the sign indicates that the exit ramp for 1792 441 is still a half a mile ahead, this is the street right here passing underneath. And in just a couple of minutes, we will be passing underneath under this very bridge. So here we are now approaching the exit ramp for 528, and you can see there's a lot going on here. We've got the Orlando Airport, we've got 1792, 441, and again we see 528 East. So we'll take this ramp, and you'll see we're going to curve around. This is a trumpet ramp, and we're going to come back over the top of the turnpike. So now we've crossed over from the southbound side over to the northbound side of the turnpike. And at this point, we see the road splits, and there's a lane indicated to go eastbound on 528. It doesn't say anything on what happened to all that other stuff, the 441, the 1792, but I'm going to go ahead and take this lane and assume that that's going to get me there. And we go through the old toll booth here, and immediately afterwards, that lane that split off has come back together. So I guess there was no urgency to get into the correct lane at that point, because you still have time to do it right here. So yes, there are two paths you can go by, but in the long run, there's still time to change the road you're on. Anyway, so there goes 528 East off to the right, and we are now going over what is called Orange Blossom Trail. This is 1792 and 441. And of course, this is the second time that we've crossed over Orange Blossom Trail, because remember, we crossed over it when we were still on the Turnpike before we took the ramp for 528. So we'll loop around here, and we'll first pass under the ramp that we were just on that brought us down here to Orange Blossom Trail. And as we do that, we continue forward, and then we're going to go under the Turnpike itself. So now again, we've moved from the northbound side of the Turnpike back to the southbound side of the Turnpike where I was a minute ago. And we reach this stoplight, and notice this sign right here that says 528 West. The first time that there's been any sign at all for 528 West, and I had to make a couple of leaps of faith in order to get to this point. So we'll make the right turn. Luckily, the light's red and nobody's coming, so we didn't lose any time here. Essentially, just had to stop and keep moving. And now we're on this slow road with, lots of traffic and lots of stuff on both sides of it, making our way back to the intersection where we were before. As we continue to follow this city street, which is doubling as a ramp, I'll ask if there's anybody who'd like to hazard a guess at what the name of this street is. That's right. If you guessed Consulate Drive, you're the winner. So here we're going to go Consulate Drive back under State Route 528, and then we'll make our left turn back to the same ramp that we saw 4 or 5 minutes ago. And as we're ready to enter the expressway, we've come back to the point that we saw from the Turnpike several minutes ago, and which we would have used had there been even one sign along the Turnpike to tell us about it. But instead, we had to go an extra 3/4 of a mile down the Turnpike, go through 2 different cloverleaf ramps, cross over the Turnpike twice, go through an abandoned toll booth, and then cross under the 528 Expressway twice just to get back to this point. I hope you've enjoyed this trip through the most convoluted intersection in the United States. And if you did, I hope you'll give this video a like so that YouTube will show it to other people as well. And maybe even somebody from Florida DOT will see it and put a sign up to say westbound 528, use Consulate Drive. That's it for today. If you enjoyed the video, again, please like it. And also consider subscribing to my content. I'd really appreciate it. This is Postcard Dan signing off.